Hello everyone, it's TheSensibleSergal here, and for my very first video, we are going to talk about Omnipolitics. Omnipolitics 16. Pretty much everyone else has torn this guy apart, but I could not miss the chance to do it myself. So I actually have a video here that he took down. I was able to get it by splicing a video by VeryNearlyViral. I took their video of Omnipolitics and spliced them out, but I do suggest that you go see them. I'll put their channel and the video link in the description below. But without further ado, let's get started.
Oh, well, children can't consent to sex, so that means we should outlaw sex for all of them.
You say that very sarcastically, but the truth of the matter is, that is how you should react. Children cannot consent, and therefore, sex with them should be outlawed. In fact, it's already outlawed, as most civilized societies around the world have it outlawed. The fact that you want it legalized is baffling, and honestly, it's making the meal I just ate from KFC start to come up a little.
So, the argument's going around that children can't consent to sex, which basically means they're retarded.
You don't really seem to understand how child psychology works. Here's the lowdown. Children cannot consent to sex because their brain has not developed to the point where they can cognitively think of consequences. If you are around children, you would know this. Children tend to just do things. They're kind of like the Joker in that sense. They just do things. They don't really think of consequences. This is why children get hurt a lot, end up with broken bones, because they don't think things through. A child cannot think of the repercussions of what happens when you have sex. Plus, their bodies are just physically not ready for it. The fact that you want to force sex onto a child makes me, and pretty much everyone else on the internet, hate you and wish you dead.
People use this as an argument to why pedophilia is wrong. Even though sex can be enjoyable, even if they can't consent.
What?
Even if they can't consent. They can't consent.
That's not fit and if
You heard it here. Even if they can't consent, they're still gonna enjoy it. So go on, go rape the nearest child. Are you fucking insane?
But children can consent. The process of consent is not really hard to understand. The process is not. Either you say yes or no to a bond-strengthening activity. The problem I have is with these people that are like, it's more complicated than that.
It is more complicated than that, you hobgoblin. Children do not have the mental capacity to understand what it means when they say yes to something like that. You little hobgoblin, you know you're taking advantage of someone who can't consent properly. They don't understand. Even if you were to sit them down and explain what was about to happen, they would not be able to understand what you were talking about, because they can't connect themselves to that event. They just simply can't.
Sex is not complicated. It's a bond-strengthening activity. It's not bad at all. You can consent if you know what you're doing.
But children don't know what they're doing. Shit, they don't even know what's down there or what it means. To them, it's just something you pee out of. It's not something that you stick into someone else or someone else sticks into them. They can't understand that. It's just a toy to them. They don't even know what it is. It's just they've been told not to let anyone touch it and not to touch it in public. That's pretty much it. That's all they can understand, and that's all they should be able to understand. You little fucking weirdo.
If you want to participate in a fun, pleasurable activity with your loved one, and you want to straighten your bond or your relationship, go have sex.
Sex is not inherently a bond-strengthening activity. You don't form a bond with the hooker you hired down the streets. All you get from a hooker is herpes. You don't get a bond. All you get is an empty wallet and herpes. How can you say that sex is a bond-forming activity? Love is a bond-forming activity, and you don't have to have sex to have love. Oh my God, you just... Where do you get your logic? It's like you get it from a certain holy book. You know, I wouldn't be surprised.
Consent is a big matter on the subject. Oh, yeah, consent is a big matter on the subject to you big governments, huh?
What? What the fuck are you talking about? To you big governments? The government is not staring down your neck yet when you have sex yet. They're not... This is not some government construct created to control the masses. Consent has been around since, well, sex. Even in the animal kingdom, sex usually has to be consented to. Otherwise, you get mauled by the thing you're trying to shag.
Yeah, consent's such a big aspect to a healthy relationship.
What are you going on about? Now you're saying that the consent is not important to a healthy relationship? Not only are you a pedophile, you're a fucking rapist. If I ever meet you, you better be wearing fucking ball armor, because I will tear them off.
Because basically, in places like Texas, you can basically have sex with an animal without any repercussions. And animals cannot even fucking consent!
This law is actually lack thereof. There is no law saying that it's illegal. Therefore, there have been people who have shagged animals. This doesn't make it right, and it doesn't mean that the animal isn't damaged. But you're comparing a child to an animal right now. You're saying because animals don't need to consent to sex, that children do not need to consent to sex. There is a big difference between an animal who will attack its own reflection because it can't recognize it as itself, and a small human being who has 80 plus years ahead of it of living, being happy, that you will destroy psychologically and physically if you were to have sex with them. God!
So you can have sex with an animal in a few places, but you cannot have sex with children in any places because of the consent issue.
The only issue here is that you seem to think that consent is an option when it's not. Oy, I can feel my ulcer just churning whenever I look at your face and hear your insidious little voice. You just want to make me become murderous, which is also illegal. But you know what? It would kind of be worth it if it meant that it prevented you from raping a child.
Are you serious?
Deadly serious.
Sex is a bond-strengthening activity. You're basically putting children on this lower pedestal than animals, saying that animals can consent, but children can't.
Hey moron, hey fucking moron, as Undoom would say. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that children cannot consent because their brain just isn't developed for it. God, you drive me crazy. You honestly drive me insane. You make me want to go into the backyard and shoot myself in the head because of how fucked the world is.
What do they mean by protect? I don't understand.
I'm gonna keep this real simple for your pea-sized brain. When we say we're going to protect our children, we mean if pedophiles get anywhere near our children, we're going to make sure that they don't have a head afterwards. And I mean both heads. I will cut it off, buddy.
Oh, I understand why the law likes to use consent as a matter of why pedophilia is wrong, because you know very damn well that people do not give one single shit about an animal.
If I see you stick your dick in anything and it doesn't say yes and it's not above the age of 18, and if it's not human above the age of 18, I will cut your dick off. I will wave it in your face and then I will force you to eat it.
I do not get this logic.
This is because you're a horrible pervert with terrible views and possibly have very, very, very rapey intentions. Since you seem to think that consent is kind of this fluttery thing that doesn't really need to happen in a healthy relationship. This is your words, not mine. No wonder you don't understand. You have such an underdeveloped brain, you make autistic people look like Albert fucking Einstein. And I have autism, I can say that.
I really don't. I don't get it. You can basically have sex with an animal because an animal can somehow consent, but a child can't.
Neither can consent. Animals can't talk, and children do not have the brain power. Oh my God, I want to castrate you with a pair of rusty scissors connected to a car battery.
I can see why they like to make this argument, because the law does not want to stop meat production.
What? What? You went from basically advocating for rape, advocating for having sex with a child, to meat production, and that's why pedophilia is banned? Okay, how? How do you come to the conclusion that the US government has banned pedophilia but not bestiality because they don't want to stop meat production? You have the intelligence of a mole rat.
In conclusion, a child can consent to sex. Consent does not matter on the age of the individual in most cases.
In most cases, it matters in all cases. It matters all the time. If they're not 18, or if you live in Japan, if they're not 14, they cannot consent to sex. And you fully admitted in the other video that you took down that you are sexually attracted to children on the 3 to 12 age. You would have sex with a 3-year-old. You are the most disgusting person, and you wonder why you are the most wanted person to be dead on YouTube. I'm done with you. I'm done. If you like this video, please leave a comment down below. Say fur fag. Just don't say anything else. Just say fur fag. And that's it. If you want to add yif and hell, that's fine too. Just make sure to write fur fag at the bottom. Leave a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. Have a good one, everyone.